Welcome back. A magnificent institution with a glorious past. The history of the Aryan Benevolent Home goes back to 1918, when a Mr. D.G. Satyadeva witnessed a police officer assaulting a homeless old man for taking shelter overnight in a public toilet in Durban. Deeply distressed by this incident and emboldened by the principles of the Arya Samaj reformist Hindu movement, Mr. Satyadeva and his colleagues, Mr. Nayana Raj and Mr. S.L. Singh, resolved to provide a home for the city's neediest. 100 years on, the same traditions, values and principles live on in this noble institution.
Om Naam Ka Jhanda Pyara, Om Naam Ka Jhanda Pyara.
The ABH was started actually by the Arya Yuvak Sabha, which is now an affiliate of the Arya Samaj South Africa, in 1921. The Arya Yuvak Sabha was started in 1912.
In 1918, a man named D.G. Satyadeva was touched by compassion when he saw a homeless man being beaten up by a policeman. He was only seeking shelter in a public toilet in Victoria Street in Durban. And when he saw this, it drew tears in his eyes. And so he gathered together others from the religious group in which he belonged. It was the Arya Samaj. In 3 years' time, in 1921, in May, they began the Aryan Benevolent Home.
Mr. D.G. Satyadev, who started the Arya Yuvak Sabha, started it with a group of young men whom he taught Hindi to at his residence. And he said to them, there's a dire need to start a place for those who are disadvantaged, for those who have no home, for the poor, for those who are not fed. And so they started in a small way in Mayville. There was a house that was available, and they started housing people there who had no place to go to. So when they started the home here, they had calls from all over South Africa for people who needed to be housed, children who needed to be placed under care, children who needed to be educated and fed and taken care of. And that is how the home expanded.
The society, the economics, the politics is kind of designed that we accept children from broken homes and they have to go back to those broken homes. Upgrading their lives, skilling the children, so that when they go back to those broken homes, they can deal with those things. The demand to fill bed spaces are so great. And we don't think about the problems of society. No, we never think about that. We think what we could do to make the lives better.
Bhai Ram Bharos was an inmate of the home. He was brought to the home, I think about 6 or 7 years after it had been established. His father had passed away. His mum was quite ill, and he had a brother who was very ill. He was actually a paraplegic. Because they were so poor and he couldn't afford the transport to come here, he put his brother in a wheelbarrow and they were pushed here from where they were right to the home in Mayville. And at a very young age, Bhai Ram Bharos became the secretary of the Sabha for a number of years.
Dr. Shishupal Ram Bharos had served the ABH almost all his life. For 84 years he served the ABH. ABH shall continue to operate in striving to express compassion towards fellow human beings. It is deserved that the ABH should be congratulated at this juncture of its centenary. And we hope and pray that they will continue like this for the next 100 years.